From December 2nd to December 3rd, incentive planners and media from all over the world came to Perth in Western Australia for Dreamtime, Australia's biannual business events showcase. During the business session, planners met with sellers from all over Australia, from CVBs and DMOs to hotels and more. They also explored Perth and its surrounding areas. After that, meeting planners dispersed across Australia for educational fam trips. The North American group stopped in Sydney and then spent a few days in the Whitsundays in northeastern Australia near the Great Barrier Reef. Here's what they had to say about the trip.
Absolutely, I think Australia is a must. Even though the travel was long, it was very comfortable. And once we got here, the friendliness of the island and the people were incredible. And I think pairing as an incentive destination, having the city and then going up to something like the Great Barrier Reef, Hamilton Island, the Whitsunday Islands is just a perfect incentive trip.
Coming to a country for the first time, I mean, there's a lot that you don't know. And as an American, it's only as much as you've researched or as much as you've heard. So it seems that from an American perspective, a lot of the conversation for Australia centers around Sydney and then everything else. So coming to Australia and going to Dreamtime, especially as it took place in Perth, and on the entire other side of the country, was extremely eye-opening. It was fascinating to learn not only about the varied parts of the country, but maybe even a touch deeper dive at Dreamtime specifically for Western Australia, the state of Western Australia, which is almost half of the country. So to be able to learn and to understand both the geography, but from a business perspective and incentive perspective, to understand why people would go to these places and what the value is and where it may be good and where it not, or maybe for a different audience, was extremely impactful and very helpful.
The top takeaways that I have are the increased level of air transport to Australia. Now you've got choices from the US that include, of course, American Airlines, Qantas, which has nationwide coverage, as well as Virgin Australia. So the lift is much easier than people understand. Also, especially if you're looking at nationwide air for meetings and things like that, it's very easy to partner with all these different airlines. So that is the first takeaway. The second takeaway is, especially if you're in the incentive market, in thinking about the fact that Australia is a bucket list destination for so many North Americans, people tend to overlook how incredibly favorable the exchange rate is for North America. And so for incentive planners, this is just a win-win-win, that you have the ability to truly provide a world-class incentive opportunity for people in a beautiful, exotic country, and yet it is also an incredible bargain. And then the third takeaway I would say is that I think that people do not understand how advanced the tourism infrastructure is in Australia. Having planned a meeting here before, as well as an incentive, the DMCs are very proactive. Not only does Australia have the right hotel properties, the right convention centers, the right transport options, but in addition, the proactiveness of the DMCs makes you feel like there's not that much of a physical distance.
Anytime I can get in and touch and feel and smell and experience a destination myself, it makes it so much easier to recommend it to clients, to broaden not just my horizons, but broaden my clients' horizons, and let them look at, destinations they might not have considered.
I have to say, the Ritz-Carlton being only open for 2 weeks and right there on the water was just a great property. It's really fun to see that luxury brand being brought into that city. And then right around it was great shopping, the water, the harbor, the convention center was walking distance.
To be honest, every property that we visited I thought was a hit. I mean, we started out at the Ritz-Carlton in Perth, which has only been open for 3 weeks at the time, in a beautiful property right in the middle of the quay, staring over onto the river into the coast, and then moving back into the eastern part of Australia, staying at the Sheraton Grand, which just went through a major renovation, and beautiful grandeur, very accessible part of the city.
Qualia was amazing. It was just the perfect wow experience. It also would be fabulous for all of our incentive clients to really just treat them and say, congratulations, you made it, and look at what we have to offer you.
And then up to the Whitsundays, I mean, good grief, that place is spectacular. So to go to the Qualia Lodge, which was very exclusive, very, very high-end, very luxurious, in a beautiful, beautiful setting. And then to take the luxury ferry to the Intercontinental on Hayman Island, which is a private island with the Intercontinental being the only property on the island. So again, a level of exclusivity, but with 166 rooms, enough space for most incentive groups.
I had been here about 4 years ago, but I had never been to Hamilton Island. I had been to Hayman Island at the lovely resort, which is now the Hayman Intercontinental, was previously the Hayman One and Only. And that property was destroyed by a cyclone. And it's very interesting to see all the very positive changes and the beautiful job with renovation and reopening that Intercontinental has done. It took almost 3 years of this hotel being closed. It is an awesome option for those coming to the Whitsundays for an incentive program.
The property we're at right now, the Intercontinental Hayman Island, is beautiful. It definitely has that incentive feel. You can really see a group like taking it over and walking around the grounds, seeing the other people in your within your company that are there on the trip with you, but it's spread out enough you can still go retreat into a corner or find your own little cabana by the pool. So this property definitely would be a great booking, and they've got like the nice meeting space, so you can do that one token kind of general session, State of the Union awards that they kind of have at incentives often. And then Qualia, the resort we were at before this, Qualia is just ridiculous. 60 pavilions. I mean, that's your upper echelon. That's going to be like your C-level executive board retreat.
And then to round out here in this beautiful setting, just north of the Circular Quay, the Sydney Harbor, the bridge at the Taronga Zoo, to be able to have this experience is something incredibly special.
I think I have to say the Great Barrier Reef. Flying over that was just stunning and picturesque and out of a movie, out of a screenshot desktop. It was out of this world.
My goodness, that's a difficult question to ask, because I feel like, without sounding cliche, I mean, every moment brought something new and exciting. It'd be easy to pick the Whitsundays because the luxury of it was in rarefied air. But to be honest, for me, I think a highlight was seeing Perth. It's an area that was incredibly unfamiliar to me, and I think for a lot of Americans, considering it's on the western side of Australia, and certainly not the easiest to get to compared to Sydney, but worth the jaunt, worth the journey. Spectacular culture, spectacular people, and just a beautiful, beautiful area with a lot to offer.
Highlight of the week was actually getting to see Hamilton Island, which I had not previously experienced. The Qualia Resort is amazing. Again, the entire island has so many opportunities. That was exciting.
Perth was an amazing city and a wonderful destination and great host city. And the wine tasting we did, the Swan Valley vendors we met, they were great. Beautiful beaches as well. But comparing Perth to the Whitsundays is like comparing San Diego to Hawaii. They're both lovely in their own right, but I mean, the Whitsundays have been just an incredible, it's the Great Barrier Reef. It's kind of a lifetime destination.
Yeah.